You're now listening to Emily Shields Talk with Substance on Hotline. Radio Jamaica, active for the good of our nation.
Thank you, listeners. We're back with you on the hotline. I'm going to come to Inside Banking. I'm going to stay a little bit on this 53.3 because I find the interpretation to be quite interesting and is a source of great lamentation over the last couple of months. It's the same one they call the gag clause. But money time! This is the hotline Inside Banking with NCB. Hi, Tanya Allgrove, Assistant Vice President for SME Business. Good to have you.
Hi, good morning, Emily.
Morning. Welcome. Go right ahead.
Okay, so I really appreciate you having us on this morning. We really just want to have a quick conversation about RevUp Caribbean, and I believe that there has been some buzz around this, but for those who haven't heard, RevUp Caribbean is a virtual business incubator program for SMEs. And just to be clear, SMEs here refers to small and medium enterprises. Mm-hmm. And they have open registrations for business owners to be part of their third cohort. So the program really allows years of knowledge of industry experts to be compressed into just a few short months of training. And the objective here is to empower SMEs to scale their businesses in the short term. Mm-hmm. So NCB is a proud sponsor of this RevUp Caribbean program. We believe that entrepreneurship and SMEs are key to a thriving and sustainable economy. Yep. And by supporting new businesses and SMEs in general, we're helping to diversify the economy, reduce dependence on traditional industries. And today we'll be talking about this program in more detail in terms of what SMEs can expect.
Right. I'm sure I did a broadcast at that building there, the Caribbean building right across from UE, where they were talking about some incubator stuff. That came under the Ministry of Tourism. I'm not sure if it's connected in some way at all, but just tell me about how yours is structured.
Right. So it's not directly related, but you recognize that there are a number of these programs around for the simple reason that we all are really trying to mobilize the SMEs across the country to really try to bring that growth and development in our economy. So this particular program is really delivered virtually over a 5-month period, and it delivers tailored training for SME businesses. And there are actually 2 different elements to the program. Mm-hmm. So there's a startup component for equity-seeking businesses. And so these are companies that are seeking investor financing, early-stage businesses seeking investor financing to take their ideas and move them towards developing a business out of it. And then there's a scale-up component, which is for growth-seeking SMEs. So these are for established SMEs that are seeking to grow and scale their businesses in a profitable and sustainable manner. Mm-hmm. And so what is exciting to know is that NCB is subsidizing the cost for SME customers who register for this component of the program.
Wow. So tell me some of the areas that you're covering in the program then. That sounds good.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm very happy you asked that, because one of the other areas here is really the industry experts that have been brought on board. So the training will be delivered in modules where different topics which are considered critical to the growth and development with SMEs. A lot of these topics will be covered by local and international industry experts. So I'm going to give you a couple examples. We have Going Digital, you're going to recognize these names. Mm-hmm. Going Digital, we have on board Stacey Hines, who's the founder of Epic Technologies, and Alicia Little of NCB. Mm-hmm. Then we have Corporate Governance, which is going to be delivered by none other than Sandra Glasgow, who is well known in this area, and she is the principal of RevUp Caribbean, but she has a lot of history in this area of incubation of SME businesses. So strategy, growth, and scaling, again, another name you're going to recall, Kamala Bennett, founder of Limas and Bards Limited. Then you have Becoming a $1 Million Marketer, which is delivered by Karen Ropo, of the founder of Sian Associates. And then, of course, business and tax laws by none other than our own tax administration of Jamaica. I would expect you can appreciate that they will be the experts in this area. And there's much more. But, what was really exciting is that at the end of the 5 months of training, there will be an in-person retreat where participants will be invited to learn from industry heavyweights in a very concentrated way. So the last cohort, this was incredibly exciting. In December, the cohort 2 ended, and we had the privilege of benefiting from presentations and panel discussions from none other than the former chief marketing officer at Facebook, Gary Briggs, who actually then went on to develop Petco, which I'm sure you've heard of, and then a senior partner at McKinsey & Company, Romero Rebelos, who, one of the exciting things there was the ability of a lot of these many of them young entrepreneurs and SMEs being able to really stress test and pressure test their ideas. And one of the areas that I found very fascinating watching it was seeing how they were able to really bring out the ability of these entrepreneurs to better detail their plans and really sort of think through some of the areas that maybe they hadn't thought through before.
Yes.
Which is a very critical process in getting to that other side, right? We need, sometimes we have ideas, but we have to recognize that we need to make sure we're putting them through the ringer to make sure that these ideas can actually result in a very sustainable business. And, so I think we can agree that RevUp has done an incredible job of attracting top-class industry experts in their respective fields to deliver the program. And I really encourage SMEs to jump on this incredible opportunity. The access to these individuals is not something that you can find every day.
Right. So what is in it for NCB and such that you're a partner on it? Why?
So in our experience over many years of supporting SMEs, we found many of them excel at development and sales of their core product or service, but oftentimes they struggle to build out the basic supporting infrastructure of the business in a way that allows them to successfully run and scale the business. So they need significant support in developing their capacity to do that. A lot of them didn't have that foundation training. What they have is that sort of entrepreneurial spirit. It's now being able to coalesce all their knowledge and information in a manner that allows them to actually translate that to running a day-to-day operation. And that requires another level of understanding and training. So we at NCB have really taken the position that for us to be able to support SMEs to become better SMEs and by extension better participants in our economy and better customers. I think the benefits go right through. They develop they provide for employment in our economy. The benefits are they're really exponential, but it's really about creating that foundation.
Right, and then tell us now, has the program started yet? If not, when and how do we sign up for it?
So the registration for the next cohort is actually open. We expect that by March we need to have all the registrations in. By the beginning of March we need to have the registrations in, and the next cohort will start in May. So we want to make sure that people are on board. There is a process that we have to go through because they do have to go through some qualification criteria, and so we need to get the applications in so that we can do that process so people can be notified of their acceptance to the program. So they can actually go to the website www.revupcaribbean.com, or if you're an existing SME customer, you are already eligible and you can apply at that same website, again, www.revupcaribbean.com. My apologies, the program starts in March, not in May. It's wrong M.
Yeah.
The program starts in March, so they need to really get in. They really need to get in now. But I want to share that if you are an SME and you're not an existing SME customer of NCB, if once you become an NCB customer before the program starts, you would be then eligible for that sponsorship.
Right, and you clearly had good turnout, good results from cohorts 1 and 2. So you're on to 3 now, starting in
We're on to number 3.
Yeah, right. And just tell us, why is it you say you start having three now?
Well, the intention was always, because what happens is that we do have a limited number of people in the program at any point, at any one time. Because you need to make sure that you're not, overloading the numbers so that you can't get that sort of, individual interaction. So what we've done is that we've limited the numbers in any one cohort, and we're splitting it over a number of cohorts. Mm-hmm. And it's very important to understand that it is an intensive program. You can get a lot out of it as an SME, but it does require commitment over that period. It really is a 5-month program.
Yes.
But, in discussing, in interacting with members of cohort 2, it was very fascinating to really understand how excited they were about the opportunity to be a part of this program and how much value they thought it brought to them.
Right. And just thinking through, because I've been doing this program with you now over a year inside banking, and I think it's a perfect fit for you to be a part of, to be a partner, because I know there are so many programs you have for the SMEs, the hub, and all sorts of things. So just remind us of those ways in which you support the SME at NCB.
So I'm really glad you raised that. I mean, one of the things that we made, that when we continue to assess our business and really try to identify those areas which either serve as general impediments to us our SMEs being able to maximize their potential, or identify areas where we think that there is a point of friction that we need to resolve. So one of the areas that we really focused on last year was establishing a dedicated resource for SMEs to be able to support their daily needs. One of the things that people may not understand about SMEs in a general way is that they spend their time trying to run their business. Yeah. They don't, so you really need, but they're oftentimes the head cook and bottle washer. They're doing everything. They're doing their HR, the finance, they're doing the banking. And so everything takes away from them running their core business. And we're trying to ensure that they are not spending time trying to resolve banking issues when we can have a dedicated resource to be able to support them in doing that, so that they can focus on running their business. So last year we introduced an SME CX Hub, which CX being Customer Experience Hub, and it's exclusive to our SME customers, and so that they can facilitate access from virtually anywhere for service support, for requests or addressing issues that they can't do on their own or to do online. Yeah. And it allows for those issues to be taken on by these customer experience service providers, so that they can go on, they can continue to run their business. I will also share with you that we've also spent a lot of time trying to remove the impediments that they have found in terms of being able to having to go to the bank to deposit checks, etc. We've put in remote checking services, so you literally can be sitting at your desk. They can lodge their checks from their desk. They don't have to go to the bank. So they can.
I don't think I was told about that one.
Well, I'll get Sharon to call you.
Please.
But it's a service that you lodge your checks from your desk, and they get credited to your account. Yeah. The only thing is that the checks do come in at some point. The physical checks do have to come in at some point after the fact. Yes. But that is something that I'm surprised that you haven't heard of it, and I will definitely ask Sharon Williams to get in contact with you.
But certainly next week for Inside Banking, I'd love to hear about that, because that's a massive move. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Anything else you want us to know quickly, because we've got to go. Thank you.
Well, no, but I just really want to encourage our SME customers to take up these sort of facilities that we're providing to them, these sort of learning environments that we're creating. It really is to allow you to focus on growing your business, developing your business in a sustainable way, and we are really seeking a myriad of ways to try to support you in those regards.
Great. Thank you. Have a great weekend. All Looking forward to hearing about the check next week. Tanya Allgrove,
all right. Thank you.
Vice President. Thank you. SME Business. That's Inside Banking with NCB.